Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Lubna Rizkita Khairunnida, and now I'm going to present the material about writing and deconstruction on Grammatology by Jacques Derrida. Derrida's of Grammatology, 1967. Of Grammatology is one of 3 books published by Derrida in 1967. In its history of Grammatology is a book that has a significance on Derrida's reputation as a philosopher at that time. Of Grammatology is a book that has a significant influence on Derrida because it was in this book that Derrida initiated the theory of deconstruction for the first time. Of Grammatology itself is divided into 2 main parts. The first one is entitled Writing Before the Letter, which explains the origin of writing. And then the second one is entitled Nature Culture Writing, which focuses on deconstructing various texts in various types of fields, such as linguistics, anthropology, and philosophy. Deconstruction theory. In general, deconstruction is taught to understand the contradiction that exists in the text and try to reboot the meanings that have been embedded in the text. The idea of deconstruction does not accept a text constantly according to the meaning of the text. Deconstruction thinking believes that a text must have hidden meanings and have different meanings. Therefore, deconstruction thinking requires a process of looking for structural meaning from a single meaning. It means that when we read a text, we cannot necessarily conclude the meaning of the text. Deconstruction theory by Jacques Derrida. Derrida himself never directly defines what is meant by deconstruction. From a practical point of view, deconstruction relates to 2 concepts, namely description and transformation. Deconstruction can also be interpreted as a strategy to approach the text, then disassemble it to question the initial assumptions of the text, which are considered to be always true. Although the exact meaning is unknown, deconstruction can be interpreted as destroying something, then randomizing and rearranging. And now we are going to talk about nothing outside the text. Deconstruction first appeared because of Derrida's words, which read nothing outside the text, which means that there is nothing outside the text. And what is meant by text here is not just something that is written, but the text can be anything, including paintings, drawings, humans, and others. That is, everything that we can understand, something that has meaning, and something that we can process with our minds is called text. So according to Derrida, deconstruction is not a technique. It is also not a style for criticizing literature, nor it is a method of interpretation. This is evidence of Derrida's evocative way of thinking. And there are several factors that prompted Derrida to initiate the deconstruction theory. The first one is metaphysics of present, and then Western philosophy ignores the principle of difference, binary opposition, logocentrism, and also phonocentrism. And now we are going to talk one by one. The first one is metaphysics of presence. The metaphysics of presence seems to require the speaker to be present with the objects and concepts he speaks. Metaphysics of present means that When someone mentioned or says something, it means that the utterance is a representation of that thing. In the metaphysics of reason, concepts, stories, and statements are considered to represent reality. Metaphysics of reason is what will later become the search of the emergence of. The second one is logocentrism. Logocentrism is an understanding that has the belief that the basis of all thoughts and actions is reality and rationality. Derrida is someone who is anti-logocentrism. And logocentrism itself comes from the word logos. It means reasons or way of thinking, and centric, it means center. So according to Derrida, logocentrism is a rigid way of thinking because people who embrace logocentrism are usually trapped in their own truth and think that the reasoning of others is wrong. So from the point of view of logocentrism, the way to understand the world can be done through symbols and words, where all is considered to represent something real in the world that can be known with certainty. Okay, the next one is binary oppositions. Binary opposition is the way of thinking in pairs. It raises a way of thinking that tends to be discriminatory. This is what Derrida deconstructed. The example of binary opposition are black and white, long and short, day and night, male and female, and others. So it means that when someone thinks in pairs, it will cause positive connotations on the first side and negative connotation in the other side. Okay, the next one is Western philosophy ignores the principle of different. Different has two word elements, namely to differ or differentiate and to differ or suspend or postpone, meaning that each word or text has a different meaning. Therefore, one should not be in a hurry to determine a meaning and must be postponed. The meaning of something does not depend on the statement and the object, but depends on the context. And this is what Western philosophers have always done, which is always looking for the essence or definition of a word and ignoring the principle of difference. And the last one is phonocentrism. Phonocentrism is an understanding that prioritizes speech over writing. Most Western philosophers at that time embraced phenocentrism. So they prioritize speech and put writing second. And this is very contradictory to Derrida's thinking because according to him, writing is more important than speech. And from all what I explained, we can conclude that deconstruction shows that in every text there are always assumptions that are considered absolute or definitely true. In fact, every assumption is always contextual, meaning that an assumption is not necessarily absolute depending on how the context is. These assumptions do not refer to the final meaning. And this is some of the references that I've got. And I think that's all. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.